For those of you who are watching us on YouTube, we're excited that we have that option available for you. Please take a second and like and subscribe. And as you're watching the webinar, as you move through the segments, you're going to get a signal to click to the next segment. Please do that so you can follow the entire hour that we are presenting here today live. With that, I'm going to ask if your microphones are not muted that you mute for us as we move through so that we're able to really enjoy this hour without distraction. There will be breaks within the program. Philip is going to offer you the opportunity to ask your questions live, or you can put your questions in the chat. If you're new to this platform, if you look to the top of your screen in Teams, there's a little bubble, a chat. You can open that up, and please feel free to put your questions in the chat as well. Today, we have this dynamic duo that's back with us. We're very, very excited. First of all, our moderator is Philip Bufford out of Columbus. Philip is a radio personality. He's the owner of Unplugged Magazine. He's the writer and director of a web series, Dear Love. And again, most importantly, he's one of our beloved instructors that our students have an opportunity to learn from, not only on our Columbus campus, but on our other campuses as well. And as our guest today, we have Edgar Garcia, who joined us 2 weeks ago for an introduction into voiceover. Edgar comes to us with 30 years of experience. He's a committed journalist, a voiceover artist. He's a copywriter. He's a man about media. He's written many campaigns. His voice is heard across all of Latin America, from Mexico to Argentina. Very passionate about what he does. He has done voiceover in markets not only down in Latin America, but in the US as well. An instructor, of course, at our Miami Media School, and another beloved instructor, who has really opened up a pathway to many of our students to graduate. So without further ado, I'm going to turn the stage over to Philip and to Edgar. And for all of our guests, please remember, put your questions in the chat. You can use the raise your hand button if you would like. And we're really looking forward to learning more about how to really get started equipment-wise and demo-wise with Edgar and Philip. So take it away, gentlemen. It's all yours. Thank you.
Ready.
Thank you. All right, well, everyone, thank you again for joining the Beonair forum. My name is Philip Buffett. I'll be your facilitator today, and we have Edgar Garcia. How are you doing, Edgar?
Philip, it is a pleasure to be with you and with everybody, the team of Beonair Networks. I'm really happy to be on, I think, step number 2 in the webinar series we're doing. I think it's there's been a lot of information that we've given in the past, but I think there's a lot more that we could cover in this opportunity. So I guess that people are going to get, I pray that people will get, a lot of information that's going to be really relevant to get jump started in this career. For those of you who are interested, I think it would be, a good starting place to understand a little bit about the ins and outs of the things that we need to do to become, or at least to create, a business where probably you guys are not seeing any so far. So let's get into that. Philip, take it away. So I'm all yours.
All right. Well, again, housekeeping for everyone. Thank you for joining right now. All you have to do, we're going to want you to put your questions in the chat, and periodically we'll jump in and grab the questions, and then we will call on you to ask the question that you have written in the chat. Again, once you ask the question, make sure to mute your microphone back so that Edgar can respond, and then we're going to move on to other questions. If we have a lot more questions before we run out of time, we'll do what's called a 60-second drill, where we'll ask your question, Edgar will have 60 seconds to answer, and then we're going to move on to the next question. But that'll be down on yeah, that's when it gets real fun. So let's get into it right now. So first question, in general, we've talked about a lot of stuff last time, but in general, what are the basic equipment needed to get started as a voiceover actor?
I think it depends on each one's budget and what you want to do. Normally, the equipment is really simple to have, and most people here already have what I would think is probably 60% of the equipment needed, which is a laptop, computer, anything. A computer that can handle the massive processing that is needed to do audio editing and audio recording, because I have to tell you that, guys, normally when we use computers and when we use editing software tools such as Audition, Pro Tools, Logic, you name it, you're going to have to require a lot of processing power from your computer. So that said, I think that the basic thing and the basic need that a computer needs to have is probably 16 megabytes of RAM, and that will have you up and running in with no problem at all. It can work. It can work with 8 megabytes RAM, any computer. It would be a PC, a Mac, it doesn't matter. If you ask me, guys, I would always go to Mac in terms of having the proper equipment. Not because PC doesn't work, it does. But the thing about this is that cost effectiveness, to me, goes to Macs. Why? Because, for example, my last Mac, I retired last year and it helped me out for 13 years. So go figure when you're going to have a PC that will give you that amount of time. So if you're looking at a cost-effective solution, I would go to Mac. It's more expensive, of course, it's more expensive. But in the long run, it will save you money because it's going to pay for itself a zillion times. So that is one thing that we have to consider. A good computer, 16 megabytes RAM, 8 megabytes minimum, but 8 megabytes could put you, into a computer that can freeze, that can slow down, those kind of things, because again, the processing power required to do these things, these tasks, is very much or requires a lot from the computer. The next thing that we need to have, depending on the mic that you guys want to have, we have USB mics and we have condenser mics. The problem about condenser mics, which are better mics to have, of course, is that you're going to need an extra gear to be able to connect that thing to your computer. And that's what we call an interface. Interfaces act just like a bridge between your computer and the mic, because the connectors of the mic are not USB. They are called XLR. So you have an XLR coming into the interface, another XLR coming out of the interface, and ends up as a USB cable that you can easily input into your computer. So that will be, a solution. So if you look at the basic setup, that's all you need, guys. A mic, could be a USB mic, they're cheaper. Could be a USB mic, could be a condenser mic. I can show you some, and I think I will do that, a list of mics that I consider could be the ones to have. I found, for example, a nice bundle in a website that I normally go to purchase all my gear. I found a mic. It's not going to be, cheap. It's up around $300, but it brings everything. It brings the interface. It has the popper stopper. It has the cables. It has everything. So it's just, a plug and play thing that will have you up and running in no time. But there are other options that we can also analyze and take a look at, because microphones are going to be the pivotal thing about your studio. One thing that I do have to mention about this, the fact that your sound, and hear me out with this, your sound is going to be as good as your cheapest component. You may have an audio chain. For example, you have a microphone, you have a cable, you have a laptop, you have $1,000 mic, you have $1,000 PC, but you have a $2 cable. That's what you're going to sound like. So in terms of the audio chain, if you have something that is kind of not with the quality that we need to do professional things, we are going to sound unprofessional. It doesn't mean that I have to go and purchase the high-end gear or the most expensive one. It doesn't mean that. It means that we have to look for quality things that will allow us to have an audio chain. And with audio chain, what I mean is basically that we're going to have microphone, cable, computer. That's my chain, right? Or microphone, interface, computer. That's my other audio chain. But any of those cables, any of those components, be it, for example, the interface having, poor electronics in it, you're going to have, a crappy sound all over. So you don't want that. So basically, the needs that you guys may have is to look out for a good mic. And this is something really complicated, because at least for me, it took me a while to understand which mic suited best for my voice. I had to listen to a lot of them, and I, sincerely tell you guys, go to any pro audio store around Guitar Center, Sam Ash. I don't know. There's so many out there. Go and listen. Talk to those mics and listen to them. See which one resonates better with you. Because depending on the voices that we have, and not everybody has the same voice, depending on the voices, we need a specific mic. It took me, I would say, it took me years to find the appropriate mics. I have two that I use now. I'm not going to recommend them to you because those are professional mics, expensive mics. You don't need to go on that direction yet. I think there is a business to be grown, and as you grow your business, you can then start, upgrading and upgrading as you go, because it will pay for itself. But in the meantime, while you're setting up this whole thing, I wouldn't see the necessity of you guys having an expensive mic, because hear me out, guys. Another thing about this is the more expensive the mic or the more sensitive the mic is, the more problems you guys are going to have. You're going to have a lot of them. For example, I normally use a TLM 103. That's a Neumann. That's a German mic. Germans are the best mics that I can find in the business. But they're very sensitive. So sensitive that they can pick up even the sound of my clothes moving if I'm moving around while I'm doing a VO. So this means that if you have a mic such as that one, you're going to need a lot of a lot of acoustic treatment to your room, because this thing will be able to pick up, I don't know, the car passing by 2 blocks down. It will become a problem, because now you're going to be surrounded by background noises that will completely ruin your recordings. So that's one thing to consider. We have to tone it down as we move up in this buildup of the studio that we want to have. And with the basic equipment that we have, you are more than done, because I think that with a good computer, a relatively good mic, and a proper booth to do this, I think that you guys will be up and running. And what is the proper booth? I think we discussed this on the last webinar. Basically, we're talking about a walk-in closet, for example, a closet, a car. There are places that we can use to be able to record and do great things. A walk-in closet is perfect, guys. And I mean, it's so perfect that I'm, considering not even moving from my home right now because of the characteristics of the walk-in closet that I have. And why is that? Because, okay, I have clothes hanging at least from 3 different walls. What I did was I added acoustic treatment behind that to make it even more compact and even more to have less resonance. Okay, reflections, that's what we don't have. Echoes, those kind of things will reflect sound and will create a background noise, kind of a cathedral kind of sound that you guys don't want, because that's going to showcase that you guys are not well prepared to do a proper recording. And we do need, and we do demand a lot of quality in terms of those recordings. So what I would say is that basically what you guys need to do is, if you have a walk-in closet, you got no problem. You just lock yourself in that thing and you will be good to go, and you won't have that much reflections. The smaller the room, the better the performance of it. The bigger, the wider, the more reflective this room becomes, you're going to have a great number of issues that are going to set you guys back and make you sound really awful in terms of the background noise or cathedral kind of noise that we're going to have if we are working from a big room. So in a nutshell, guys, I would say that you need a microphone, you need a computer, you probably need a walk-in closet or a closet. In any way, all you need is clothes, because clothes are going to help you isolate sound and are going to help you remove those reflections. The only problem that I would see